Everyone's saying hi. Just give me a second, please. Just bringing up the desktop. Easy to see. We got Josh here. Do you guys like Neil Young? Has that turned into your favorite quote, Josh? It wasn't as random as you think. Thank you, Skits. Welcome to Basic Support. Much appreciated. My goal would eventually be to howdy fella. Howdy Carl. Um, Carl, I never heard. I keep asking you, who won the volleyball game? Josh says to drink chocolate for breakfast. Do you really, Josh? I don't know if I believe you. Hi, Anna. I thought it was chocolate chips. But L. Carl says we won. Well, congratulations, Carl. I'm actually glad for you. Hey, Bud Files. I'd wear that sticker like a bagel. Anna, how are you? How's your day going, Anna? Bread is unflavored pancake. I'm really glad you saved these, Josh. Bud Files says morning. Stitch says, how are you today? Hey, Stitch, I'm good. You gonna hang out for a bit? Maybe. Duncan's been looking for you. And I know you've been looking for Duncan. You have one more day to go today. And he said if you made it all the way through, you get to reward yourself tomorrow with, I think he said a medium, might have been small, but I think he said small to medium bowl of ice cream. The whole damn pie. Sounds like something I would say. And it says, I'm good, thank you, Yogi. How are you? I'm pretty good. Pretty good. So, for those, happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to your father, whether they are physically present or not. Mine isn't. Uh, I miss my dad every day. You guys hear me talk about my dad all the time. See if you can see these guys. This is my dad in the Navy, 1945, till end of World War II. He signed up, volunteered for the Navy when he was 17 years old. Imagine that. To 27, 37. I blinked out just for a second, guys, but I'm back. Um, what's the plans for you and Dan today, Jace? This is my dad again. Imagine finding yourself. He was from not even a small town. There weren't even small towns available. Uh, the nearest like city was about 120 miles away, and it wasn't even a city, Williamsport, Pennsylvania. He had little tiny like village hubs. Um, was a county seat, I guess. That's my dad again. Can you guess? Can you guess which one Yogi is? Is the kid with the big head? Always. You knew I was destined to find my way to YouTube. I'm already sticking my head right in front of a camera. Hey, Ronnie boy. Ronnie boy, what's up with the watch hours? You are a father Yogi or your cats? You are a father, Yogi. You're a cat. Are your daughter's son? I have a stepchild. Such as I will have you off the side because I need to get caught up on the show. Gotcha. If he comes in, I'll give you a shout out. So anyway, yeah, imagine being a small town, not even a small town boy, a complete um, way back in the boondocks boy, finding yourself at 17 on a mine sweep in the South Pacific at the tail end of World War II. Thank you, Lee. Lee, how are you? Um, he would have served in Korea as well. He was in the Navy Reserves, uh, but he used his GI Bill along with working in the mills and during the school year, and in the off season he worked in the woods, which meant he worked for a lumber company up in northern PA. Put himself through college so he could be a teacher, and eventually have me. Hey, Sniper. Greetings, beautiful souls. What nature guy says, I didn't even know it was Father's Day. Mine was never around, and I have no children. For his nature guy, I was blessed with a awesome father. I'm blessed with an awesome stepchild. He says that he served with the Pacific Fleet. He did on a mine sweep, which was at the time, Japan at that point had already known they were losing the war. So they were planning on a huge kamikaze strike, taking out as many ships, as many Americans as they possibly could um, before the forces closed down upon them. That did not work. That did not work because we dropped the atomic bomb. My dad was conflicted about that. When my dad came home from the Navy, he grew up. His father was a forest ranger. His father's cousin and best friend, my dad considered him uncle, was the game warden. Um, Everyone in his family. He was the youngest surviving child. Quite a few. His oldest brother was 27 years older than him. Thank you, Nature Guy. So he grew up very solitary, but his older parents, his father, my grandfather, always when he wasn't working, he was a renowned hunting guide in that area, especially as a bear hunter. So my father grew up hunting, but he was a shy and he was a very sensitive kid. Loved to read. When he came home from the Navy, he was out. He had his rifle with him. Wasn't really hunting, but then, hey, Charlie, you were almost always hunting if you were out in the woods. If you shot something, you brought it home. You ate it. You fed your family. Or if you shot something that you weren't going to eat, it was to be skinned, and you would sell the fur, the pelt, way to make some extra money. And if you were getting ready to go to college, just home from the Navy, a little extra money could always come in handy. He's and he shot the fox. And when he approached it, uh, he found himself with tears in his eyes. And he asked himself, "Why did I do that? I love foxes; they're beautiful." Decided he was never going to hunt again. Gave his rifle away, and never did. Didn't discourage me when I wanted to hunt, but he knew I would find that out my own way because I was much like my father. I was a sensitive kid, but I wanted to hunt because my family did. But when I did, it wasn't what I wanted. I don't mind target shooting. I'm not anti-gun. I think the gun fetish is sort of ridiculous, but I'm not anti-gun. I'm not anti-hunting. As a vegan, I'm not anti-hunting. I'm not anti-fishing. I think that is, if you're going to eat meat, that small husbandry farms and hunting and fishing, the way to go, or bartering for those who do have farms. I'm against cruelty. The hunters and the fishermen that I know, especially on the YouTube channels, are not cruel at all. They are some of the most some of the best conservationists that I know, which is awesome. It says works every time, Yogi. It did work. It did. What was your father like with timekeeping? And when you and your sisters played, did you have to return at a prompt time? My dad was pretty lackadaisical about that. So was my mom. So says Yogi is a dad. He has a cat or cats. Yep, I have 2 cats. I do have a stepchild that I am close to, although I haven't heard from her today. But that's not unusual. Plus, she's going through a hard time. Her little puppy of almost 17 years, 16, 17 years, just recently passed away. And it says, I'm good. Thank you to Nature Guy. Hey, Shirley, how are you? So, yeah, it did not work for hunting wise. My dad, man, he put up with a lot for me, that's for sure. But never wavered at all. And when the opportunity came to be by his side and return the favor, I like to think that I did not waver either. Maybe I did. I don't think so. I know it was difficult. I didn't expect to be in the position that I found myself in as the youngest and as the one who was sort of kept to the side for a lot of things. The older siblings would always sort of assert themselves when I was not all that assertive. Um, I thought that, it came down to it, I would help, but to be the primary end of life caregiver, and it turned out I was the primary end of life caregiver. I was the primary caregiver for him and my mom for the last 15 years, which is good. It's almost like I had trained my entire life for that position with the meditation and the yoga and breath work. Everything prepared me to be patient. The number one gift, if you ever find yourself in that caregiving position, patience is everything. Patience is key. Ronald says, not a gun fan, but I do shoot will be what I use to be more accurate. It causes suffering, even if a bell is more what I'd like personally. I can understand that. Carl says, me and my brothers used to hunt birds, good old days. You don't hunt anymore, Carl? To me, it was more like opposite. Actually, hunting seemed cruel to me, and I wasn't a fan, so I got into it myself. Well, never hunted with a gun or even bell, but with lassos and lines. Interesting. Skid says, always wanted to go hunting, not with a weapon though. Bare hands, me and Bear, let's go. I'll be right behind you, Skits. Full support. Watching the Belmont races with my favorite thoroughbred is on somewhere, so see ya. Thanks, Shirley. Enjoy. We all know who the favorite thoroughbred is. He says, "What a beautiful quality, Yogi. I would like to be more patient and less agitated." You can be. Hey, let's learn how to meditate. I will teach you. Come on up on the live stream anytime you want, and I will give you a universal mantra, teach you how to use it, and then when you feel ready, I will give you your primordial sound mantra, but that's done privately. Little ceremony is involved. Patience has always been one of my strongest abilities. Patience is amazing. Hey, Anna Marie. I had a wonderful talk with Anna Marie last night. So Miss Yogi, I hope you're doing well today. I am, my friend. Thank you so much. Stitch is crying. What's up, Stitch? Marlon says being a caregiver is something that never seemed like myself, but then it just happened. That's the way. That's the way it happened with me. Hardest thing I've ever done. Best thing I've ever done. I mention all the time. I was asked to step up. Hey, Joe. The Hawk 76076 is here. Our good friend Joe. I've been a fan of Joe for a number of years now. Hey, Chef Mary. Nice to see you. Yeah, I was asked to step up as a caregiver for my mom. Her slow decline with Alzheimer's. In retrospect, it doesn't seem all that slow. Um, but my dad was fairly strong during all the time, although he did have a stroke, but he recovered quite well. He recovered from so much that each time the doctors thought, well, he's probably not going to survive. At 90, just coming out of the hospital with pneumonia. Um, Once he had pneumonia so bad, they couldn't drain the lungs all the way, and they had to put a hole in his chest with like a pump that would drain. It had to be drained every day. That I had difficulty doing. Fortunately, Milka. This tells you the devotion that Milka had to my dad. Uh, my ex-wife, her ex-father-in-law, he never thought of her as an ex. Neither did I for a long, long time. Um, she showed up every day to help me do it. I actually did it. Hey, Ryan. Ryan says hi. Just briefly popping in before I teach piano. Hope everyone is having a good day, Sunday. Thank you, Ryan. I hope you are as well. I loved your tribute to Brian Wilson. Thank you so much for that. Tropical Road says, Happy Father's Day, everyone. Happy Father's Day to you. We're talking about dads. Hey, so let's make it a dad theme, if you would like. Or let's make it a parent theme. Let's make it a whatever theme you want. Come on up for 5 minutes. Tell me a memory of your dad. Or of your mom. Or a memory of something. Family. And it says, sorry, Sitch, that all the loving you will get Monday keep you strong. Stitch says, I miss my kitten. He's at home. I'm 30 minutes away until Monday. I'm sorry, Stitch. If my cat wanders in, I'll put the camera down so you can say hi to her. Skid says, Hawkster, bro. Get in, bro. Hyena. Thank you, Anna Marie. She says she's sorry to Stitch. Nature Guy says your dad was a very strong guy. Very strong man. He was. So, anyway, yeah, not long after he recovered from that pneumonia, he came into my little office where I am now, and he said he had a pain in his side, lower abdomen. And I said, what would you like to do? And he said, well, I got a doctor's appointment later in the week. Just wait. I just wanted to give you a heads up. And I said, well, if you're in pain, let's go to the emergency room. He said, no, it's late. You're busy. I don't want to trouble you. And I said, I would be troubled if I thought that you were in pain and we weren't doing anything about it. I said, I can take you to the emergency room, get you checked in, and then, if need be, can come back home uh, and then come back and check in on you because you'll get a room. So he said, sure. So we took him there and he got treated fairly quickly. Turned out he had a septic gallbladder that burst. He needed immediate surgery. On the way to surgery, it burst. And the doctor says, well, if he was 60, my age now, it would be a tough thing to survive, especially after um, pneumonia, a severe case of pneumonia. About 3 days later, Mocha went to visit him, and he was out of the hospital bed, had his walker, and was doing laps around the room. And Mocha came in, and she's like, "Should you be doing that?" And he smiled and says, "You got to keep moving." And that was his philosophy all the way to the end. You got to keep moving. The last day, if you ever hear me talk about the Wayne McCarty Memorial Track, it is walking from the living room. You could start wherever, but we would walk from the living room through the kitchen, down the hall, back into the living room. When my father could no longer go outside to walk, we do that walk every day. The day before he went into the hospital for the last time, I helped him out of the wheelchair, and I walked behind him, helped keep him steady, and we did a lap in the Wayne McCarty Memorial Track, which I only started calling that after he passed away. Hey, blessed mama. He says, Mocha sounds like a special lady yogi. She is. Been a little bit now since I've talked with her, which makes her no less special, maybe smarter. Um, he says, my dad died suddenly in front of me when I was 21. I found out when I was 18. He wasn't, but I loved him very much. Only regret is I wish I'd said thank you for everything he did. Hey, Lee, say thank you now. Because now the lines of communication are completely open. Now there's no separateness between you and your father. Your father hears you better and more clear now than ever before, and you have more insight and a greater ability to say what's in your heart to your father than you could have said back then. Communicate with your father. I do every day. So yeah, the day after we did that little walk, he had a hard time getting out of bed and said, I think we should call the ambulance. And they did. Maybe a day or two later, the doctor said everything is shutting down. You have to make a choice. It's going to be hospice or what's the other care? I forget what it's called. I can't remember. And that's when I realized I had to make all these decisions. And I had no idea why until I was told because I could, because my father trusted me to make them. So if I get emotional, if I cry a little bit talking about this, it's not sad, it's the connection. He says, never thought of that, Yogi. I like that idea very much. Hey, Karen, let me read you guys something. I've read this before. It sounds sort of romantic, but it's not meant to be romantic love that we're talking about here. You've heard me read this before. This is a poem from Rumi. Rumi is the great Sufi, Persian Sufi mystic poet. It's called Love Dogs. Easy Time Cooking says, how are you? I'm good. Nature Guy says, thank you for sharing these memories with us, Yogi. Thank you for listening, guys. I very much appreciate it. Thank you, Nature. One night a man was crying, Allah, Allah. His lips grew sweet with the praising until a cynic said, so, I have heard you calling out, but have you ever gotten any response? The man had no answer for that. He quit praying and fell into a confused sleep. He dreamed he saw Kadir, the guide of souls, in a thick green foliage. Why did you stop praising? Because I've never heard anything back. This longing you express is the return message. The grief you cry out from draws you towards union. Your pure sadness that wants help is the secret cup. Listen to the moan of a dog for its master. That whining is the connection. There are love dogs no one knows the name of. Give your life to be one of them. So here's the reason I read that. When he was asked, why did he stop praising? He says, because I didn't hear anything back. But the answer was wishing, the longing, the desire to connect. That was the return message. The grief, the tears that you cry over the loss of a loved one, that draws you towards union with your loved one. Your pure sadness that wants help is a secret cup. Listen to the moan of a dog for its master. That whining is the connection. There are love dogs no one knows the name of. Give your life to be one of them. So I mentioned again, all of that. Lee, the connection with your father is alive and present. For those of you who may not have had the best relationship with your father's no longer here. Who's to say you can't amend that now? Who's to say that the doors of communication are closed and that you can't reach out? If your father is still alive, but the lines of communication seem to be closed, that's just physical. The real line, the line of the heart, is still present. That's the whole nature of forgiveness. It's the whole nature of, you guys heard us talk about Ho'oponopono, the Hawaiian art of forgiveness and reconciliation. Reconciliation does not mean that two people have to participate, because there's only one mind, there's only one heart. Hey, Skits. Hey, you look
Hello,
different. You look different than the last time I saw you.
Why?
You don't have anything stuck in your nose.
No. Wait there. Wait. What are you on about?
You definitely made.
I don't know what you mean.
At first, I was concerned, and then I was like, "What's he up to?" Because he didn't seem distressed.
I do it to make people smile and make people laugh. But I thought I'd come up here and speak about my father for a little minute.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that he was my best friend. Obviously, he's no longer with us, sadly, but he was my best friend. He was like one of the greatest people to me. I'll show you a picture. I don't have any good pictures, but I keep this picture in my wallet with me so that he's with me at all times.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. That's my father. Yeah, I miss him every day, but I know that he's always with me. Like sometimes he'll give me small signs.
You gotta love those signs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like some people might find it a little bit overwhelming and stuff, but I think it's really beautiful because it shows that he's always there with me.
I agree. I agree.
Which is very nice. So yeah, how do you feel about today, Yogi? About Father's Day? It's very nice that you're speaking about your father a lot, by the way.
You know, I mentioned this.
Mm-hmm.
Tears might come into my eyes when I talk about my dad.
Yep.
And they might come to your eyes as well, talking about your
Mm-hmm.
dad, and you and I talking about our dads together.
Yep.
But it's not so much sad.
Mm-hmm.
It's with deep appreciation that we have these people, that I had my dad, that I love my dad so much, and that he loved me so much, and that connection continues. And like you said, we get these little signs. I wish I still had my dad physically present. But
I feel like it was one of the greatest honors to have known my own dad, which seems strange to say, but
I understand. I understand completely. So yeah, even though it can seem kind of sad, I know that heart connection remains forever.
Yeah, eternally as well.
Eternally. And it's like you said, those little signs show us that connection's taken place.
100%, brother. 100%. They will always be there with us.
I ever tell you the story of this just happened a couple months ago. I
Mm,
got my property taxes coming up
yep.
due this month,
Hmm.
and I live in a pretty expensive place.
Yep.
Fortunately, the house we own the house, my brother and I.
Okay.
But the taxes always wipe out a large amount of my savings. Um,
Oh.
this year, it would have maybe wiped me out
Hmm.
completely, put me in a
Yep.
very precarious position, and I didn't know what I was going to do. Um, and I was actually on the phone with Toy Pops having a conversation, and
Hmm.
she put me on hold, and I looked at a letter that was on my table that was there probably for months. Um,
Okay.
and I thought it was junk mail. I don't know why I didn't
Hmm.
throw it away because I normally do or
Yeah.
recycle it. And I decided since it was on hold, I was curious, nothing to do. I opened it, and it was a check from a insurance company from my dad's estate for
Okay.
$800, um,
Okay.
and only in my name. Um, and I had already cashed out that account and
Hmm.
got the money that I inherited, but somewhere hidden was $800, and it felt like so in other words, that's going to pay like half of it. Um, it felt like a direct line from my dad saying, "I'm taking care of you."
That's that's because it was a direct line from your dad.
I think so.
Hmm.
Um,
100%. Yep. And that'll always happen forever. That will always happen constantly. Like anytime that you need anything, they will always be there to guide you, to help you, to protect you.
I agree. Thank you for that.
Even when you feel alone, you've got to remember that they are always there with you. Always, always, always.
Agreed. It's such a comfort too, isn't it?
It is. It actually is. Yeah. Plus, like, I don't know what you feel about like the afterlife and stuff. I believe that one day we will get to meet them again.
I like
Like,
that.
hmm.
Um, I would take it maybe one step a little farther. You
Yeah.
don't have to wait for the afterlife.
No, you don't. No.
Um,
I've met my dad in my dreams after he's passed away. I've had dreams with my father in it, and because they felt so real, it was like so joyous to just spend time with him,
yeah,
which felt so nice.
I know.
Hmm.
Amazing.
Hmm. Well, well, much love to everybody today. Hope you've all had a nice Father's Day, and I'm going to come off now. I'll jump back in the chat.
1 second. Skits. I
Hmm.
love you, my friend.
Oh, I love you too, Yogi brother. Love everybody in the chat too.
Thank you.
See you later.
See you, my friend. That is the my good friend, my brother, Skitosis. Anna Marie says, you don't always have to use words to tell someone you love them, Carl. Thank you, Anna Marie. Anna Marie says, well, I never thought of it that way. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Mr. Yogi. Thank you, Anna Marie. You guys says the connection and the spirit realm is much stronger than that in the physical world. Carl says, Anna Marie, of course, but I wanted to know that. So, Carl, if it's that strong, and I know it's difficult, just say it. I love you, Dad. Want you to know. H says, what do you think about reincarnation? I'll be honest with you. I participate in a tradition that believes very strongly in reincarnation and rebirth, yoga. Um, I don't have much view on it one way or the other. I like to think in terms of rebirth, and rebirth is something that happens continuously for all of us. So, whether or not there is a particular self of my father that could be reincarnated into another physical form doesn't matter because my dad's continuously being reborn um, in every conceivable way. Right now, um, the molecules, the atoms, and the particles that had made up my dad are now making up something else. It's beautiful to consider that I can look on a leaf, I can look at a tip of a feather on a bird's tail and know that that contains the molecules that made up my dad. Reborn already, life ever continuing. If I missed some comments, I apologize. So, H, what do you think about reincarnation? Anna Marie says, my family is very much like that too, Carl. We are big on tell one another how much we may feel, but we have our ways of showing each other. Mine is I call my dad every day, and he always texts me good morning. Nice. That's beautiful, Anna Marie. Skit says, I'm back in chat. Thanks for having me, Yogi. Thanks for coming up, Skits. Anna Marie says, hi again, Skits. Nature Guy says, we love you too, Skits. So, do you guys see how easy all of us are able to say we love each other? It's that easy offline as well. Nature Guy says, the molecules of the universe never die. They simply use for new creations. Absolutely. Hey, Marlon.
I love you, Eric McCarty.
How are you?
I don't know, honestly.
No?
No.
Hey, Chris.
Did you hear the first thing I said, by the way?
I think I probably ignored it.
I said I love you, Eric McCarty.
I ignored the last part. So let me say right off the bat, I love you too, Marlon, my friend.
Hey, Skits. Thank you.
Any memories you feel like sharing?
I don't know, like, my family is kind of messed up. Not gonna lie. But
Many are. Many are.
yes, that is very true. There is there definitely is still, but one thing I can say that even with all the bad things, that doesn't mean there is no love. It also doesn't mean that the things that was not okay, things like abuse, mental and physical, it doesn't excuse any of that, but even if things like that were present, it doesn't mean you were never loved. Just yeah,
Agreed.
which might or might not help some people, but yeah. Every day we wake up is a great day because
Hey, Daisy.
Hi there, Kelly.
We're talking about we're talking about fathers.
Yeah.
And a little more broad family dynamics. It doesn't have to end there.
Yeah. Like me and my father have interesting dynamic, I should say. It's like he does care and does try to help me and stuff. At the same time, he also is pretty short fuse and he has been abusive, including physical abuse.
I'm sorry
towards
to hear that.
me, my sister, my mother. My parents split up when I was 2 years old. So at least he never got physical with my mom again, and it never was a freaking thing, but it could happen totally out of the blue. And yeah, like it also wasn't something that, of course, doesn't necessarily make it better, but like it wasn't like if you did something really bad, then it hit you, but it was just, it could be nothing, or just something he would normally laugh about, and then you would get a roundhouse kick. And yeah, it usually only happened like every few years, but it was still something that happened, and being so unpredictable, that made it pretty difficult. And he is still like that, just he hasn't gotten physical for a while now. I don't know if I honestly cannot tell if he has really changed, or if it is just that me being an adult now kind of makes that harder.
Right.
Puts
Have you
more, yeah.
have you tried to talk to your dad about any of this?
Maybe, but he'll just get defensive, and like when he gets verbally aggressive and you tell him that, he'll just deny and get more aggressive.
Right.
So it also is there's also been times when I was more the one caring for him, and he's definitely not a very mature person and never has been, which also kind of skews the dynamic from what a normal father-son relationship would be. That I have way more self-control, and like most other people would agree that I'm also definitely, and have been for years, the more mature one. Even though he's just a couple years younger than you are. And yeah, still acts like a teenager in the bad ways, let's say.
Right.
Also, I'm not saying you cannot act. I'm not saying you act like an old person, Yogi.
I know
You're definitely a lot more of a mature when it comes to serious things, and you can be silly when it comes to things that aren't that serious.
Well, thank you for that.
And with him, it is more like the opposite. Well, he can also be silly with silly things, but he can also be a lot of times can be way too serious. So yeah.
Right.
That is. My mom is very loving, and she has always tried her best, more than my dad, for sure. Though there were also some things that I don't think there's anything that's my mom's fault. I think with my father, yes, he would have had to at least try therapy, which he never did after getting abusive repeatedly. And it just, especially when it comes out of the blue and is, yeah. So.
Maybe Thursday.
Yeah.
With Cat and Jack, we could talk about forgiveness and family dynamics, because I have literally changed the dynamics within my own family through practicing forgiveness. Forgiveness, you hear us talk about it all the time, not in the I forgive you because of this, but looking through the perceived errors, looking through the perceived mistakes, looking through the perceived humanness to the innocent spirit within that is present within your father, that knows no other way of communicating than he does.
Yeah.
If you could picture your father as the innocent child that he was, that is crying out for help, saying, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to be a better father to you. I don't know how to express love in any other way than how I am, and I wish I did. If we could see that, because that's what it is. Every only loving thoughts are true. Anything else is an appeal for help or healing. So anything from your father that does not seem like an expression of love, he's literally asking for help, asking for healing.
Yeah.
And that's what forgiveness is. And when we can accept that, the relationships begin to change.
Yeah. I mean, it already has. Like, I mean, years ago, also, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I stopped seeing him like as my father and having like that expectation, especially that he should, yeah, be a father figure and things like that. Just him being part of my life and the person that I interact with without any preconceived notions necessarily. That has also made things a lot easier.
Right.
And seeing him more like as a buddy or a brother or something like that. That is, yeah, that is basically how it's been, and that has actually helped a lot.
I'm glad to hear that. So Marlon, I'm going to see if anyone else wants to share some memories too.
Yeah.
I appreciate, as always, coming up.
And one thing, like, if you think it's better on the next stream, let me know. But yesterday you said we could do some breath work and meditation today.
Yeah, I was thinking that was going to be something that we might do privately.
Oh, in private. Oh, okay, gotcha.
I thought might be easier for you.
Yeah, maybe.
But if not,
I don't know. But
if not, we can do it on the next
both is fine. Yeah.
Let me know. Let me know what works better for you. You can send me a
Can't go
message.
out because we're out of gas, so we're chilling at the house. It's working on a fuel pump. Well, I hope you can at least somehow still find some happiness from within, Cheyenne. And I know it's not easy, but maybe just try to be content with the things you have right now.
Hey, Jason.
That is true, Chris.
Let's see. Okay, yeah, so send me a message. Let me know what you'd rather do. Next stream or privately.
Yeah. Okay. Then bye for now, or well, see you in the chat.
Yep. Thank you, Marlon.
Of course.
Yep. Love you, my friend.
Love you too.
Thanks.
My sexy yogi start.
You had to slip that in there, didn't you?
Always.
Right at the end. Just slid it right in.
See you later, my Cody.
See you, Marlon.
Maybe sooner than you'd think.
No. Carl says, "Where's Mushy Mushy Jace?" He's doing a live stream with Dan as we speak. So if you guys want to look him up. Chris says, "No parent is perfect, and no child is perfect. We learn from each other." Hey, what a wonderful way of viewing that, Chris. That have you guys read the Prophet Gibran, Khalil Gibran, and what he wrote about parenting? If not, we're going to read it. What a good occasion. The Prophet. I got it around here somewhere. I told Kat, I mention this all the time. Whenever I look for a book, I mentioned that I told Kat I knew where every single book, because she told me I needed to organize my books, or that she would organize my books. And I said I knew where every single one of my books are. Whenever I need it, I can reach right for it. It's organized in here. And then every time I say, "Man, let me grab a book," I don't know where it is. It's not organized. I thought it was. So let's read Gibran. First off, let me dive back in the chat real quick. Are you guys familiar with Kahlil Gibran? I highly recommend the book The Prophet. It's a book of wisdom. You can open it anywhere and get the exact insight that you need. That just made me laugh. I love everyone in the chat. We love you too, Jess. Just how have you been? Anna Marie says, is there a way to message privately on YouTube? No, I think there used to be. But Anna Marie, are you on Facebook or Facebook Messenger? Carl says, I thought Yogi left in his basement. No. Jason, my basement, doing all the burpees, leaving none for me. Anna Marie says, it's an organized chaos, Miss Yogi. Absolutely. Hey, and Maddie, I'm glad that you're feeling good today. No ill effects from the Olive Hot Peanut Festival. So, on children from the prophet, Kahlil Gibran. And a woman who held a babe against her bosom said, speak to us of children. And he said, your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And so they are with you, yet they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. For life goes on, for life goes not backwards, nor tarries with yesterday. You are the bows from which your children as living arrows are sent. The archers see the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends you with his might that his arrows may go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness. For even as he loves you, the arrows that fly, so he loves also the bow that is stable. I love that. Let me read one more thing on the prophet. I read this a little while back. So this is for you guys. This is the friendship that we have. This is the community that we have. Give me a second to find it. This is for all of you guys. And let your best be for your friend. If you must know the ebb of your tide, let him know it floods also. For what is your friend that you should seek him with hours to kill? Seek him always with hours to live. For it is his will to fill your needs, but not your emptiness. Let me repeat that. For it is his will to fill your needs, but not your emptiness. This is my all-time favorite line of maybe anything ever written. And in the sweetness of friendship, let there be laughter and sharing of pleasures. For in the dew of little things, the heart finds its morning and is refreshed. Read that one more time. In the sweetness of friendship, let there be laughter and the sharing of pleasures. For in the dew of little things, the heart finds its morning and is refreshed. You guys, help me find my morning every single day. Every single day. Chris says, I like that, Yogi. Yeah, it's a marvelous book. Anna says, The Prophet by Kahlil Gibran, Jess. Thank you, Anna. Thank you for that. I see that Anna Marie said, "Can I type the name?" I believe it's also available PDF online. Anna Marie says, "I'm on Facebook and Messenger." Hey, Anna Marie, look me up on Facebook. You'll recognize me. That's me, Eric McCarty, and it's also if you go to my homepage here, title page. I don't remember exactly what it's called. I have a Facebook link. Nature Dog Guy says you'll have to email me how you do the cleanse. I don't believe I tried that. Yeah, I heard you talking to Buddha about doing a cleanse, Chris. Anna Marie says beautiful. It actually reminded me of an argument I had with my mom many years ago. My response to her was that she cannot stop me from making mistakes. She made those for hers, and I will make my own. Agreed. But you know what? What a beautiful thing to want to help someone avoid making those mistakes. I've been in both of those positions. Carl says, I think parents love their children more than children love their parents. Interesting, Carl. Hey, does anyone else have a Father's Day story? Memory about fathers or parents or children? Or whatever it is. You know, this is it feels like a sentimental day. What can we share with each other? Semper says, Carl, it's a lesson learned along the way. Marla says, I emailed you, Chris, in case you can do something that you can use someone to talk to. Nature Guy says, okay, Chris, I have a tea for that. Chris says, parent-child relationships is a unique, deep bond that teaches both so much in a lifetime. Yep. That's a big realization, isn't it? That as a parent, we were here to learn from our kids as much as our kids are here to learn from us. Maybe even more. Give me 1 second. I just wanted to welcome my new Facebook friend. Just says my dad was awesome. You want to pop up and say something about your dad, Jess? Jess and I have a lot in common. Jess and I hung out in the same crowd back in the day. I'm a little older than Jess. One of the first, when I became an official certified primordial sound meditation, one of the first people that I taught was Jess. As well, Jess was a fellow caregiver. Jess reached out to me after my father passed away, and was just a beautiful presence to me in my life. Jess, I will always be um, grateful to your presence that you provided me. I hope you're well, my friend. Nature Guy says, you ever really understand a thing until you experience it? No, I don't think so. Not like you said, really, truly so. Chris says, I'm very fortunate. I have a spouse who I can talk to about a lot of things. Jess is still in her pajamas. It's one of those days. So not today, but thank you. Anytime, Jess. Anytime. Yeah, not super nice out right now. Separate sense of love to Jess. Carl says, take care, guys. Take care, Carl. Anna Marie says, Stitch, you that or not, you'd like to share? We'll most definitely listen. Thank you, Anna Marie. Stitch says, oh, I'm sorry. Did you see last comment? I did not, but let's find it. I apologize, Stitch. Stitch says, I have a memory of my of a died family member, but it's not my dad. Can I still share it? Yes. However, Stitch, are your parents with you? Because I know that you're not 18. You're a good and wonderful friend. But YouTube policy, we have to be really careful. We need a parent nearby. Got to keep things safe for everyone. Just says, thank you, Eric. Right back at you. Thank you, my friend. Marlon says, okay, Chris, just know you're always welcome to reach out. Adam says, happy Father's Day. Thank you, Adam. We're talking fathers and parents and children, family members, family dynamics. Chris and I getting our knuckles wrapped by nuns. Wonder why that is, Chris. Why were the nuns that I had from grade school to middle school, and then my 1 year in a Catholic high school, mainly brothers? Why were they overall not very kind people? You have a theory on that, Chris? Anyone else who went to a private school, particularly Catholic school, but I'm sure any like religious based school, with the exception of Quakers? My grandfather was raised a Quaker. He did not stay in the Quaker faith. Sometimes I wonder how different things might be. I very much resonate with the Quakers, as did Dr. Martin Luther King, as did Gandhi. As a matter of fact, it was going to a Quaker school that Dr. Martin Luther King came across the writing of Gandhi. He later in life made a pilgrimage. This was after Gandhi had already been assassinated, but he wanted to be in the same land. And he was steeped in the practice of ahimsa, which is the very first yogic principle to practice, which means non-harmfulness, living a life of non-harm to the extent that you're able. And that includes not judging people who aren't able to do it to the extent that you might be able to, as well as not having harmful thoughts towards yourself for not living up to the expectations that you think you should. Non-harm isn't just physical. Every one of the deeper aspects of yogic teaching is to take as inwards as possible. Like when we talk about non-stealing, it's not just not stealing something physical from someone else. Have you ever inadvertently stolen someone's self-esteem with an offhanded comment about their appearance, about how they look, how they speak, their job? Have you ever stolen from yourself your own self-worth, judging yourself? Yoga says examine all of these and do your best to refrain, because in the very nature of refraining from something, the opposite grows. When you are refraining from harm, peace grows in direct proportion to your ability to refrain from the harm. Chris says, I never understood that threat. The school did put that fear. I never got hit by nuns or priests, yet the fear was instilled with that fanny paddle. I had a very different belief from them. Yeah, my mom taught in the same school I went to. You would think that would save me from both the paddle and the ruler against the knuckles. It did not. I watched a nun actually sink her fingernails in a friend's neck and say that she hated him. Now he was a smartass, but what kid in middle school isn't a smartass? And what kid needs to be punished by a nun who takes a vow of love? And it just, it makes me wonder. I do my best not to judge the nuns because obviously, for her to do such a thing, she had her own suffering that she was dealing with. Adam says that was a very goofy father, and I asked my sons to overlook my poor performance in that role. But I think that people take their roles too seriously. They can do. Sorry, I will get this right. I think when people take their roles too seriously, they can do more harm. I can understand that. Sis says it will be in the chat. My mom doesn't want me live yet. Well, we need a parent with you. Oh, she's right next to you. That's fine. If your mom's right next to you, absolutely fine. Anna Marie says, "Oh, I thought Stitch wanted to share. Didn't think about popping up. So sorry, Mr. Yogi. That's okay. Anna Marie, never have to worry about apologizing for anything. Stitch, sure. If your mom's right next to you, absolutely." Stephen says, "I tried to remove the caning. I got at private schooling. I found out that I had extra padding down to prevent the pain. I got twice the amount. So they were on to you." Chris says, "Never agreed with that physical punishment with children or instilling that. Me neither." Just says, "That's terrible, Squirrel. I'm sorry." Just says, "I had a cousin. He was like my uncle. He couldn't remember my name, so he always called me girl child. He would ask my mom, 'Where's your girl child?' I know that he was trying to remember my name. Uh, now he is. What did I miss, Stitch?" That's a big insight, Stitch, that you know that he was trying to remember your name. Anna Marie says, "Well, none being hateful is something else." I think a lot of times that people turn to religion and even in some cases spirituality as a form of suppression. That instead of, I mean, one thing I know both in my experiences with yoga as well as Course in Miracles, Buddhism, there's a lot of bypassing. There's a lot of bypassing going on, meaning that we don't own our shadows, we push it away. Carl Jung called it that big dark bag that we drag behind us for the majority of our life. Sis is gone and his girlfriend saw a draw for them on the fridge because it was his favorite picture. That's beautiful, Stitch. Sisters, yeah, she's watching with me. Every time I'm watching a live, my mom is watching with me. I'm glad to hear that. We want everyone to be safe as responsible as possible. Chris says my mom was a CCD teacher and a sub nurse in the school, in the public school. I did want to go back to public school. Felt like I didn't fit in private school. I always believe in God, just in a different from the way. It was taught to me, different way that it was taught to me. Yeah, it's funny. It was called religion class, but we didn't learn about religion. We learned about the Catholic faith, and you couldn't have any questions that fit outside of um, what was to be taught. Chris says, I grew up with a life of obedience through fear. Uh, it's not the way I agree with. Anna Marie says, that's awesome, Stitch. Hi, Stitch's mom. Let me second that. Hi, Stitch's mom. You have a wonderful daughter. Chris says, I get it, Nature's Dog Realms. Wow. Chris said I had a psychology teacher hit on me and I left that school. Odd, isn't it? Psychology teacher unable to recognize their own issues. Adam says, I think it's a little odd that we're talking about corporal punishment on Father's Day. Yeah, we sort of weaved our way into this. But, we always weave our way out. Adam says, I love my mom too, Stitch. Nature Guy says, I grew up with a life of obedience through fear. It's not a way I agree with. Well, it looks like so many of us found our way through. If you ever sit in a live stream with Nature's Dog Realms, you will not find yourself in a more loving or lovelier place. So imagine that. Imagine Sniper getting hit. And yet, somehow it didn't turn any of us bitter or hateful or someone who believes that's the way to do it. Somehow it became the opposite experience for us. Anna Marie says, Miss Yogi, could I pop up? Yes, absolutely. I have a question I thought of. Definitely, Anna Marie. Chris says, hey, Adam, I'm a female. Nice to meet you. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you guys didn't know each other. Chris and Adam. Nature's Dog Realms is a wonderful channel. Adam, you'll absolutely love hanging out there. Nature Guy says, I love my mom very much. Motherly love is unconditional. She raised two of us, blind, and my brother is mentally challenged. That she could do anything a sighted person could do. Hey, Anna Marie.
Hi, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
I can't complain. Enjoying some nice weather, a break from the rain.
Yeah, you said it was ending today.
Hopefully, like I say, we've got some pretty good storm clouds brewing in the distance, but we've got a little bit of a break right now, so I'm taking advantage of it.
Nice. Hey, what you don't have to be specific, but what part of North Carolina are you in? The mountain area or the mid or the shore?
Kind of the mid. We're about the foothills, but I'm about 2 hours away from everything. So 2 hours in one direction is the beach, 2 hours in the other direction is the mountains.
That's not too bad.
No, actually, I kind of like it. The weather is a little strange at times, but I can't really complain too bad.
I often thought that I would love to have like a small mobile home and basically be North Carolina bound and in the after hurricane season be in the Outer Banks area and in the summer.
That's kind of like what landlord. Sorry, I didn't mean to
That's
interrupt
okay.
you.
Yeah, and in the summertime, be in the mountains.
See, if I was able to do that, I would love to. My landlord kind of does that. He has a home up here, that he comes to during just whenever he feels like it, and then he goes back to Florida or wherever he feels like going.
Am I,
It.
I was gonna say, am I hearing a puppy?
Minnie, I was gonna say we have Mama. Here, can I say hi? Oh gosh, she
Hey, puppy.
she just wants to be loved. And then she's kind of mad. I'm hunting walnuts and didn't take her with me. And
What
then our
kind of
little rescues over here.
what kind of walnuts are we hunting? Black walnuts?
Yes, we have black walnuts that are falling right now because of all the rain.
Right.
Oh my gosh. I say, well, we say hello to the puppies. My question is, does anyone else have a parent that since we were talking about reincarnation and stuff like that, does anyone else have a parent that was born in the wrong era?
That's an interesting question.
Because I definitely do. That's why I was asking.
What era do you think was it your mom or your dad?
My dad, definitely my dad. My dad, and he'll actually tell you this himself. That's why I thought it was an interesting question. My dad was meant to be born in like the Daniel Boone era.
I could see that.
Yeah, I can say he is very self-sustaining. I wouldn't call him a prepper, but if anything were to happen, I'm going to my dad's house.
He's the go-to guy.
He's definitely the go-to guy. He's very much into taking care of himself and his family and like holistic medicine and things like that. So if I ever have anything going on, I call my dad first.
I'm gonna remember that because if anything goes on, I'm going to your dad's too.
Hey, come on, the more the merrier. And then other puppies. Yeah, I was gonna say if anybody's in my area, I have two that are up for adoption as well.
Yeah.
So
What kind of the other two?
they are lab mixes as far as I know. But I'm not 100% sure. They were kind of dumped on my doorstep.
You think
But
they
one of
found
them
the right?
looks almost identical to my big dog. So I think they've got to be similar.
Right. I think they found the right person to be dumped on.
My husband says the same thing. I kind of have a soft spot for animals. It doesn't matter what kind it is.
I'm the same. I have been considering a dog, but my two dogs, one passed away in 2017 and one in 2018, and I thought I was done with dogs. As much as I love dogs, it was just so heartbreaking.
It always is. I mean, even my husband said the same thing. He's always had little beady dogs, little chihuahuas, and after our last one died, he was just like, I'm not doing it again. I can't do it again. And a few weeks later, he came home with this thing.
Especially it's really hard to turn down a puppy. Actually,
It really is.
it might be impossible to turn down a puppy, and it's also really hard to turn down a rescue dog when you know that you're providing a lifeline.
Absolutely.
And I'm of the belief that in some ways every dog is a rescue dog.
I believe that.
Oh,
Whether we rescue them or they rescue us is the question, though.
exactly. I have two rescue cats, sisters, that I got when they were 10 years old. They were black
Oh,
cats,
wow.
and the person told at the shelter told my ex-wife that they were afraid, one, that nobody might want one because they were black and they were older,
Right.
and two, they were bonded sisters, and they were afraid
Oh.
that they might be separated. Someone might take one and not the other. So my ex-wife told me that, and I was like, well, now I got to get them.
Right. It's like now I have to get them both, especially.
And they've pretty much run the household. So I'm almost afraid to get a dog right now because they don't seem to like dogs. When my ex-wife would bring her dog over,
Ah.
they kept her at bay. They let her know exactly who the boss was and whose house it was. And now they're 13 years old. I just sort of feel like they deserve to have an easy life without being disturbed.
I can understand that. Absolutely.
But
But
I also really want a dog.
no, I definitely understand that. And these guys, they've been here for a while, but they did have a cat friend. He was kind of interesting though because I think he thought he was a dog. So he would run and play and it just act like a dog. It was very interesting to say the least. And when he went tomcatting and it was almost like somebody had taken their sibling. It was really sad. So but yeah, as far as they're a bit bigger than a cat now, so I can understand
Right.
someone being cautious.
Hey, I want to introduce you to our friend Jace, who says, "Who is the guest?"
Hi, Jace. I can say I believe I saw them yesterday, right?
Yep.
Yep.
So everyone in the chat, this is Anna Marie, and you might know Anna Marie from hanging out over at Maddie's. How'd you connect with Maddie?
Actually, I connected with Maddie through BG and Aquariums.
Okay.
And they have a pretty cool community as well.
I've really grown to love the aquarium people.
I have too. I hopped in one day and it was just the strangest thing. I was just doom scrolling one day and he popped up on my feed and was talking about having issues with kidney stones, and I was like, hey, I can help with that. And I've been a part of the community ever since.
Awesome. And I'm so glad that we were able to connect.
Absolutely, me too. Before I go, I have someone that would like to say hi, if it's okay.
Yes.
Say, would you like to say hello?
Hello. How are you?
He says, how are you? He is. He's in my earbud.
It'll help. Maybe it'll help if I wave.
Yeah, but he's waving.
There we go.
Tell him, say, have a good day.
You too.
That's my little partner in crime. She likes to be a part of everything that I do.
Nice to have that partnership, isn't it?
It definitely is. I say that's my little hope right there. But I'll hop off that way. Somebody else can hop up and say hi if they would like.
Thank you so much, Anna Marie.
Thank you for having me on. I'll see you guys in the chat.
Take care.
It is getting big.
I
Look
hope
at
you
this one. This
guys
one's got a bunch of little tomatoes.
take the opportunity to connect. There we go. Hey, Tandra. Tandra, how are you, my friend? Tandra, you have been on my mind. You've been on my mind, and you have been on my playlist. We're actually going to wrap things up in just a few minutes. I hope, Jace, Dan, I hope you guys had a great workout. Jace says, hey, Anna, I'll send her a message, Jace, in case she can't hear this. But Anna, if you can hear this, Jace wants to know if you can do a small short so that everyone can leave a comment. And that way, if you want, you could connect with them. So as we begin to wrap things up, guys, thank you so much. Let me share one more time. Started out, Tanya says, good, thanks, Yogi. I'm glad to hear that. We started out talking about dads, and then it became families. It's my dad in 1945. U.S. Navy. He was in the South Pacific the tail end of World War II. One more. And see if you can recognize my dad with a young Yogi. As I mentioned before, you could tell I was meant for YouTube, sticking my big head in front of the camera, even at a young age. What's up there, Jace?
Can't believe what Buddha said earlier. Scarred me.
I don't remember what Buddha said.
We're the same age.
Yep. I think she said that you look like my much older brother.
And like not as clever.
Not as clever. I don't remember her saying that. Thank you, Tantra. I don't remember her saying that.
Just a favour. Show me the back of your hand. Come into the camera a little bit more. No, I mean so that you got your thumb as well. Yeah, we're definitely not. We're definitely not brothers. The way that stuck out there, then I knew there'd be a difference. It's fine. Okay, I can sleep easily tonight now.
What are you trying to say, Jace?
Well, scarred. Buddha's done me. That's it. She did me that much. I even worked out twice today. I've got to try and improve on something. Okay, I've come for a serious message. Obviously, we support each other so much.
Yep.
One thing that we do really well is we celebrate. We celebrate good things. So when people reach milestones or they have fortunate things happen, we try and share that love and we enjoy that love. And that positive energy, as you know, the P, not just dropping it in there for nothing, but that positive energy always, it influences other people. So just remember, if you're having a bad day, try and find somebody that's happy. Jump onto that little vibe. Try and get to that place where they're at that happiness. But then there's going to be times where you just can't seem to get out of that little dump, that little lull. Don't ever be afraid to reach out, to ask for help, to talk. Eric, there was a little situation yesterday. Our friend Marlon came up on the stream. Obviously, sometimes he spends a long time on the stream. But yesterday, I thought that he looked like he needed just a little bit more attention. I didn't have the capability to reach out to say to him, let's have a talk afterwards. Otherwise, I'd have been like, that's what I'd have done. So let's all just be mindful that sometimes, if somebody seems like they're taking a little bit long, sometimes it's for a reason. Let's all try and get to that point where we can understand. Might seem like they've done 10 minutes, 15 minutes. A lot of that time, it's normally they need that time, that reassurance, that love, that energy, that quality that Eric provides, this safe space that Eric provides. It's needed 10 minutes. So don't ever be scared to reach out, to ask out, and make the messages as clear as possible. Because if you really do turn around to say to somebody, I've had such a bad few days, feel really down, they totally understand. If you just turn around and say, I just don't feel good, be as expressive as you can. Makes a difference. Bro, from my heart, thank you for everything you do. I love you.
I love you too. Thank you, Jace.
No problem at all. 3 minutes and 30. It's the end of the week.
End of the week, beginning of a new one.
Do I? Do I? Mushy pea! Just let one out.
It had to come out.
No worries. Much love, much kindness. I'm holding the phone, so I can't do the both hands at the same time. But namaste. Have a great
Namaste, my
week.
friend. Thank
Dan, do you want to do another one later? Joking. I'll be in bed in an hour. See you all soon.
Take care,
Bye.
Jace. Thank you. Let's see. Dan says, much love, Jace Yogi Chat. Much love to you, Dan. Adam says, up to you and your little one, Anna Marie. Anna Marie says, hello to Jace. So, yep, I hope you guys all connect, reach out. Anna Marie, I don't know if you heard me read Jace's comment. He wanted to know if you could make a little message, or I'm sorry, make a short so that we could leave a message. Easier way to connect. K10 gives peace sign. Thank you, my friend. Chris says, have a great sleep, Jace. All right. So again, guys, I appreciate you spending Father's Day with me. Some of Father's Day with me. And then we got to talk a bit about fathers. Marlon sends some peas. Just says, you're all my guys. I appreciate you so much. Anna Marie says, oh, sure, I can definitely see about that. Hadn't thought about doing a short. Jace sends that medal to Marlon. It would be awesome, Anna Marie. All right, so I'm going to wrap things up. A few things to do. I'm going to be live again, obviously. I always am. In about 3 hours. Just about 3 hours. If you got nothing to do, if you want to talk some more, hang out, who knows? Maybe we'll do some singing. Maybe not me, but maybe someone will come up and sing a song. Let's see. Nature Guy says, great live as always. Thank you so much. Anna Marie says, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, Miss Yogi. Thank you, Anna Marie. All right. I'm going to see everyone just a bit later. Thanks again. Thank you, Jace. Chris says, much love to you all. Much love to you, Chris. Nature Guy says, love to everyone. Love to you, Nature Guy. All right. Bye, guys.